My friends, this past week, we commemorated the 84th anniversary of Kristallnacht. November 9th and 10th, 1938, the Nazi pogrom across Germany and Austria. All synagogues were torched and destroyed. Jewish homes, schools, and businesses shattered, and hundreds of Jews were killed. 30,000 Jewish men were arrested and sent to the first Nazi concentration camps. In the immediate aftermath of Kristallnacht, the streets of Jewish communities were littered with broken glass, giving rise to the name Kristallnacht, Night of Broken Glass. The Nazis held the Jewish communities of Germany and Austria responsible for the damage and imposed a collective fine of $400 million in 1938 rates. In the midst of this unspeakable terror, horror, and anguish, the voices of global religious leaders were not raised in screaming protest. The deafening silence was a shameful monument to moral indifference in the face of lurking disaster. In contrast, 84 years later, Pope Francis joined Muslim, Christian, and Jewish leaders last week at the Bahrain Dialogue Forum, where he challenged religious notables at the Interfaith Summit to speak out against the massacre by Russia in Ukraine and to oppose the childlike whims of the powerful to make war. It was the Pope's second such conference in as many months, following the 7th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions in Kazakhstan, evidence of Pope Francis's belief that encounter and engagement among people of different faiths can help heal today's conflicts and promote a more just and sustainable world. I had the distinct honor of addressing both the Kazakhstan and Bahrain Interfaith conferences alongside Pope Francis. I praise both host countries as role models for interreligious cooperation and coexistence, particularly in the greater Muslim world. Both Kazakhstan and Bahrain are at the forefront of facilitating such high-level interfaith gatherings in a time of great moral crises. The lesson of all this is clear. Silence in the face of lurking disaster is unacceptable. We are each morally responsible. For every wrong, we have the power to prevent and fail to prevent. In the spirit of this Shabbat's Torah portion, Parashat Vayera, should we praise Abraham for silently obeying God's instruction to sacrifice his son Isaac? Generations of theologians, commentators, philosophers, and writers have struggled and are still struggling with this question. The very question of why Abraham did not intercede on behalf of his son Isaac or protest God's command to sacrifice his son. He could have at least challenged, objected as to why this horrendous sacrifice was necessary, but there was no outcry and no revolt. Abraham's silence resounds through the ages. Shabbat Shalom.